We are.
You're very beautiful.
As are you.
Okay. Desire for me feels sometimes complicated. I'm aware that I have a really strong pull, like a gumball machine. If I want the blue one and then I see the orange one, I'll get both. I'm aware of that. I help others through one of my skill sets do that for themselves. But when it comes to me...
So what you're saying, we're going to be very brief here.
Yes, please.
So what you're saying here is that you have a strong power of focus, which often pays off.
Often. But what's in my real dreams, my real vortex, my depth, it's really big, and that doesn't...
So you're saying that you have desires that are deeper, that you're not allowing as much as the desires that are shallower?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know why I don't allow the resplendence, the real big picture.
Well, here's the reason. It's easy for us to tell you this. In an action-oriented world, the more effort, the more gain. You have taught yourself the more pain, the more gain. And the reason for that is because most people are offering most action in a vibrational state of resistance. We talked about that already here today. They're not tending to their vibration. So they're not in the flow of that. So they're not in the receptive mode. And so then they try to compensate for that through a lot of action. And that gives you the distorted, flawed premise that says, if I'm not working hard and if I'm not suffering, then I'm not making any gain. But look at it this way. The things that you're not worried about are happening. The things that you are worried about are not happening. The train analogy really applies. I want it, but. I want it, but. The best story that we have ever experienced through Esther, and again, you can roll your eyes because you've heard it incessantly from us, but Esther was allowing us to do a telephone conversation years ago with a woman who really didn't want to learn how to be a deliberate creator. She really wanted a fortune telling. And we weren't giving her a fortune telling, and she wasn't enjoying our trying to teach her how to create her own reality. And so everything that she said she wanted, she had many, many engines in opposition to it, and she was getting nowhere. She wasn't hearing us. She wasn't having any of us. So we said, let's talk about blue glass for a little while. And she said, why? And we said, well, let's just talk about blue glass. Envision blue glass in different shapes, different densities. Some of it you can see through, some of it you can't. She didn't enjoy the conversation at all, but we stuck with it for about a minute and a half. Then we said, let's talk about butterflies. Again, she thought it was ridiculous. She's getting ready to hang up the telephone. We're talking to her about butterflies, the varieties of them, the beauty of them, the size of the wings of them. Again, she's having none of it. And then we said, let's talk about feathers. She wasn't having any of that either. And then ultimately, she was gone in disappointment and disgust with our inability to give her what she wanted. And Esther hung up the telephone and forgot about all of it. And Jerry was not in the room. He had not heard the conversation. They were in California at the time, in La Jolla, and they were on their way to George's for lunch. And as they parked in front of the beautiful big Valencia hotel, Esther got out of the car and she saw this store. And she said to Jerry, let's go in here. And Jerry is saying, George's is that way. And Esther's saying, just for a minute, come with me. And she literally dragged Jerry into the store, which was not an unusual experience for him. But she felt so strong about it. And when they got into the store, it was a very narrow storefront, but a very deep store. And they went back. And on the back wall was a wall of blue glass. Ceiling to floor, wall to wall, every imaginable color, shade, density, objects of blue glass, art, all pieces of art, sculptures. And none of it is appealing to either one of them. And Esther is not even making the association. And so she said, well, we can go. And so off they went to George's. They finished their lunch in about an hour, and now they're walking down to the cove. And they're walking across this stretch of grass. If you've been there, it is so beautiful. And as they're walking across this lawn, they were surrounded by a flurry of butterflies that was so dense they had to stop talking to not eat them. And they're laughing. It was really an unusual experience. And still, Esther is not making the association at all. And then a little boy came across the way, and Jerry said, he looks like he's coming to you, like he knows you. And Esther said, I know. And he came running up to Esther and handed her a feather. And then Esther remembered, oh my God, she said, Abraham was talking about blue glass and butterflies and feathers. And we say, when you have these subjects on your mind that hold no resistance whatsoever, the universe can yield them to you all at once in such dramatic fashion that you will feel the blessedness of your being. But when you have a subject that you have been focused upon hard and been working at hard, so that you have a desire and resistance that is equal, then even though the universe is yielding, the universe is giving you impulse, the universe is showing you right where things are, because this is always true. Your inner being knows exactly where you stand in relationship to everything you want, and is calling you along your path of least resistance to it. And so the only answer is to stop thinking so hard, stop trying so hard, stop efforting so hard, and therefore putting resistance on your own path. It's time for you to say, okay, Abraham said there's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I've done 1, 2's done for me, 3, that's my step. That's my step. And step 3 does not include figuring out how it's going to come about. When you know what you want and why you want it, softly and gently, and you're not trying to figure out how it's going to be, where it's going to be, who's going to bring it, when it's going to be there, how it's going to get there. When you're not doing that, then you're not blocking your own path of least resistance, you see.
That's totally it.
So what is it that would make any of you have a hard time letting go of these reins, letting go of the struggle? Why is it hard to let go of the struggle? Because you believe that the struggle helps. It doesn't. It never helps. But you say, Abraham, be sensible. If somebody wants to move that, then it's just going to take some people making the effort to move it. And we say, we don't want to talk about that mundane stuff of just moving stuff from place to place. We don't want to talk about regurgitating, just moving things around. You are creators. You are creators that are taking the environment that you live in and molding it into something that is even more. This is mastery of creation. This isn't regurgitation or just moving things around. And that kind of creation does not happen with effort. It happens with allowing. Step 1, set it forth. Step 2, brought it about. It's time for you to do your now part of step 3, which is getting into that expecting. I feel blessed. I am good. I deserve this. It's my time. It's time for you to cash in your vibrational chips and experience the thrill of your thoughts evolving in your own mind, because it's that sweet spot that makes you want everything that you want. You've heard others say, and you've heard us say it too, it's the process, it's the process, it's the process. Well, it's the alignment, it's the alignment, it's the feeling of the energy, it's the flow, it's the creative flow. And when we talk to artists and musicians, when we talk to those of you who already see yourself in the creative arts, you get what we mean more than anybody else. Or a scientist that got an idea for a breakthrough, or an inventor that suddenly knew exactly what the world wanted or how to go about it. It's those thought breakthroughs that are the sweet spots of life. And once you get there, and here's the most important thing that we want to tell you. The work's already done, because sifting took a lot of time, and you've done it. And creating the vortex has been happening. You've done it. It's done. It's done. Now you just got to let it show itself to you. And that's what you were born to experience. You said, oh yeah, I'll sift and sort and I'll give birth. And we said, and we'll tend it and it'll be wonderful. And then you said, and then the good part comes. Then I will find a way to be in alignment with the pieces that I've put there. And as I'm in alignment, then I'll get to feel this powerful universal force working within my own mind. And I will feel that inspiration. I will know that impulse. I will know what to do. I will know where to be and when to be there. I will know what to say. I will know, and I will know that I'm on the path of it by the glorious way that I'm feeling while I'm pathing.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, we gave it to you with everything Esther's got.
I felt that.
direct proportion with the power of your asking. And so now, how else can we say it but just chill? Don't try so hard. Let the blue glass and butterflies and feathers just come into your experience in the perfectly timed way that the universal forces can deliver them to you.
Thank you.
You reach the place where you'll discover that you barely thought about something. Oh, that would be nice if I knew about that. And then a person on an airplane sits next to you and gives you all of the pieces to that. And you say, oh, it is so remarkable. I was just talking about that yesterday or 10 minutes ago, and here you are. Those things are happening all the time to you. And they might as well happen to you about the things that you really care about. They might as well happen to you about the things that you are really passionate about, because they are the same. These universal forces, the law of attraction and your inner being, are not saying, oh, that's a harder one. We're going to have to gather a lot more cooperative components for that one. That's not what's going on. Where's your belief factor in relationship to your desire? That's the question. Where's your belief factor? And if you're not thinking about it, whatever your belief factor is, isn't in the way. Oh.
Say that again.
What's your belief factor in relationship to your desire? I want it, but I believe in opposition. But if you're not thinking about it, then your belief factor isn't hindering you. If you're not thinking about it, it doesn't matter what your belief factor is, because if you're not thinking about it, your belief factor isn't active. And if your belief factor isn't active, then your desire factor dominates. Hey, think about that. So what can I do to keep my resistant beliefs from messing up my desires? Distract yourself. Focus upon things that are easy to believe in. Focus upon things that are easy to know. Focus upon those who are easy to love. Focus upon the things that are easy to believe and easy to expect. Because you could have 100 things that you want and only one of them that you believe. And if you focus on the one that you believe, the other 99 have to come too. Or you could have 99 things that you do believe and one that you don't. And you could focus on the one that you don't believe, yet one that you're struggling, and you mess up the other 99. Because your valve is either open or it's not, depending on what you're giving your attention to right now. Helpful?
Very.
Yeah.